Thank you for joining us on our brand new podcast, Chewing the Cud. In the first episode, we're going to give you a little bit of background about who we are. So I'm Karen Holton.
And I'm Leah Griffiths.
And we're just going to sort of let you know a little bit about us and why we've set out to do a Chewing the Cud podcast.
Chewing the Cud at Holton Farms. Tales from our happy herd and secrets behind an award-winning farm.
Hello, my name is Karen Holton and I am a dairy farmer near Congleton in Cheshire. I farm along with my husband, Tom. He's been a dairy farmer all his life. I haven't. I'm a bit of an imposter. I came from a different background. So I was a groom on a racing yard for quite a long time and then fell into recruitment. I did legal recruitment in London, Manchester, Birmingham and Leeds, probably for getting on 20 years. I met up with Tom and we'd gone out when we were 18 and he dumped me. How rude. He said I was high maintenance. So he dumped me. He went off and got married and he had a son and I went off and had a career and some horses and a chocolate Labrador and my own house and lived happily ever after until I was about 35. Tom's marriage had broken up. And I bumped into him and he eventually plucked up the courage to ask me out for a drink. So we did, and the rest was history. And we got married just the day before I was 40, because I said I was never going to get married after I was 40 for some bizarre reason. I don't know where that came from. It's probably a bit of a protection plan, really. But I gave in and we got married the day before I was 40. And at that point, I came home to work on the farm with Tom. He worked really long hours. My job took me away quite a bit. Really, something had to give. I gave him my career and came to work at home and started a brand new career, which was calf rearing, which was looking after all the calves and all the young stock at Holton Farms. It was amazing. Probably one of the best jobs in the world. I absolutely love it. Farming has got under my skin and I am so passionate about farming and animals and the agricultural industry in this country. So along with Leah, who is now the head of young stock at Holton Farm, she's kind of taken over from me and is doing the most amazing job. I end up now doing lots more paperwork but I still rear calves and I still do, 3 or 4 of the early mornings every week. The 4:30 starts feeding the calves. But really, I look more now over the business as a whole and I do much more of the managing along with Tom. It's quite a big beast, really. We've got 500 cows that we milk and 300 of the younger cows as well that are all waiting to come into the herd and follow through behind their mothers. It's a lot to manage along with the field work and all the changes and the regulations coming through all the time. So I get sort of pulled away onto that. And we do a lot of other things as well. We have the Milk Shack, and that is a place where people come and can get milk from a vending machine and they can get raw milk, which is amazing because not many people do raw milk, but we have to be heavily licensed and inspected. And that raw milk is basically milk that has not been heat treated. It's not been messed with in any way by humans. It literally comes out of the cow, goes through the filters, into the chillers, and that is how you drink it. So that's how most people grown up on dairy farms will drink their milk. They get a big jug, go to the bulk tank, take the jug out, and that's what you put on your cornflakes. That's real, proper milk. And that is how it is the most untouched. So it's got all the nutrients, the calcium, the enzymes, the protein, the vitamins, everything in there has not been damaged or treated. So it's the best way you can drink milk. It is so good for you. And then the other thing we do is pasteurized milk. So that's when we heat treat it. So it's unhomogenized, but it's heat treated. And that kills some of those enzymes and bacteria and all those real natural goodies. It does kill some of them. But we have to offer both. And that's really popular, probably more on the pasteurized side with milkshakes. So we sell milkshakes as well at the Milk Shack. We've been doing that since about 2016. So about 7 years we've been selling milk direct at the farm. Something that was really important for us when we did that, when we set that up, was really to get people on farm and see the cows, because we just realised there's that disconnect with the public really, and with people, not a lot of people out there have never really been close up to a cow or seen a cow. Or probably smelt a cow actually. So a lot of people comment on the smell when they come here, but that's all part of it. And you've got to come and experience it. So that's something we're really passionate about. Having people on farm, we do school trips, we do scouts, cubs, WI. So, my husband was delighted when we had the WI. We had 40 ladies on farm. And I thought WI was sort of lots of older people, but I discovered that was not true. There was a lot of younger ladies, and so he had a fabulous evening showing them around. What else could we tell you? I've got a group of cubs and scouts coming this evening. So in about an hour's time, I've got to go out and see some cubs and scouts and show them around the farm, to show them what we do and let them meet the animals, watch them milking. We're going to take them around the fields on the trailer and show them what's growing. We've got grass, if we've got maize growing. We're going to introduce them to the pet paddock where we've got our pet cows. Desmond is one of those pet cows, along with Flirty, Barbara and Soft Pants. Midnight's soon to join. So that's our little pet crew that we keep hanging on to. And what else are we going to do? We're going to let them milk a cow. So Midnight is going to stand very quietly because she's amazing and such a good cow. And she will let some of the cubs and the scouts actually have a go at milking her by hand. I'd better go and get ready, better go and get my glad rags on, wait for those cubs and scouts to turn up because it gets very busy and there's lots and lots of questions. And by the time I've finished, I'm that shattered. I need to go to bed, but it's well worth it.
Chewing the Cud, a podcast about life on a Cheshire dairy farm.
My name's Leah and I am the head of young stock here at Halton Farms, and I have been so for about 18 months. I don't come from farming and my background is in veterinary nursing with small animal. I left school, I went to a sixth form and I did 3 A-levels in biology, chemistry and psychology. I then went on to Harper Adams University in Shropshire to do a degree in veterinary nursing and practice management. I always knew I'd be working with animals from a young age. I just didn't know which species I would end up working with. And throughout my time at Harper Adams, I was quite inspired by the people that were there, typically the agricultural students. I was able to get involved in a lot of the farm skills sessions that they were holding. That kind of got me into the farming side of things when I'd had very little experience in that before. As I progressed through, the idea that I would probably not be going into small animal kind of popped into my head a little bit. And during my third year, we had to do a placement year, but that had to be in a small animal practice, veterinary practice. I completed that and I did that in Cheshire. I'm originally from Cambridgeshire, so I moved away from home, from my family and friends, to start something different, somewhere new. After the year finished, I went back to uni for the final year and I decided that I wanted to do my final year project on something to do with calf management. I'd made friends in the agricultural community, been on their farms, absolutely loved the idea of working with calves in the future. Wasn't really sure how that was going to pan out. So I started to do my project on calf management and see where it took me and how interested I would be. As I was doing the project, I did get more and more interested in it. I learned a lot from it. And I left university and I took on a job at the practice that I worked in. This was in the middle of COVID-19 in 2020. I worked there for 6 months before deciding that actually a career with large animals, i.e. cows, would be where my career path would take me. I started working for a large animal vets and trained as a approved TB tester. And I did that for just under a year. During that year, I visited the milk shack at Halton Farms and I saw the calf nursery, which people are able to see when they pull up to the Milk Shack car park. They can look over. They can't come in just because of biosecurity reasons, but they can look over and ask questions. And when I pulled up to get some raw milk, and we'll touch on raw milk in another episode, when I saw the calf nursery and everything that Halton Farms did from the outside, I was really intrigued. And I went home and I emailed, I don't suppose you have any relief work with the calves. I've recently done a dissertation on calf management, and it was actually to do with difficulty calvings and the effects that it had on the calf and whether farmers understood the effects that it had on the calf. Kaz replied to me saying, yeah, let's meet you. Let's, have like a mini trial. I came along, did a mini trial. I did a bit of relief assistant work for about 8 weeks. As time progressed and as things changed, the previous head of Youngstock wanted to leave. So I naturally took the position of head of Youngstock, which was probably one of the best decisions that I've ever made. And the rest is history, as they say.
Thanks for listening today. Remember, we have the Milk Shack. So if you're ever passing or you're over this way in Cheshire, always call in and say hello. Say hello to our girls. They're all on the yard chewing their cud.
Chewing the Cud has been brought to you today by me, Leah Griffiths, and my co-host,
Karen Holton.
Remember, we're social cows, so keep up to date with all that's happening on the farm by visiting any of our social channels. See the links in the podcast episode. Like and subscribe on your favourite podcast platform. Thanks for listening.